Welcome to Monk's Temple. Find a position that allows your body to be at ease. If there is stiffness or ache, simply let it be part of this moment's truth. We are not here to declare war on our own experience. We are here to offer it a seat. To sit beside what is, without an immediate agenda to fix it. This is a profound act of hospitality. You are inviting all of yourself in, even the guests that feel difficult. The tightness in your chest, the whirl of the mind, the sense of chasing a horizon that always recedes. We call this anxiety, worry, stress. Beneath the label, it is a familiar energy, the feeling of being perpetually on alert. Tonight, we explore a simple, ancient refuge. It is not a secret. It is with you now. It is the steady rhythm of your own breath. Not the breath you must control, but the breath that is already happening. Your faithful companion from your first moment to this one. Our practice is to turn toward it, as you would turn toward a calm friend in a noisy room. Begin by noticing. Without changing a thing, can you detect the faint passage of air at your nostrils? A subtle coolness as it enters. Don't force it. Just observe, as if watching a single leaf float on a still pond. As the breath turns to leave, a slight warmth. In and out. That is the entire practice. Your mind will wander. It will dart to a memory, a plan, an ache. This is not failure. It is the mind's nature. Our practice is the nature of gentle return. When you notice you've been pulled away, simply acknowledge it. Wandering. Then, with the tenderness of guiding a child's hand back to a shared task, bring your attention back to that point of coolness and warmth. No scolding. Just, here is the breath again. We build a new relationship not through conflict, but through compassionate, consistent return. Now, a story. It's about a master locksmith, renowned for opening safes without force. A young apprentice, frustrated with a stubborn lock, was about to apply more pressure. The master placed a hand on his. "You are trying to command the metal," he said. "But the lock is not an enemy. It is a conversation. Your tools are listeners. Feel for the slight give, the subtle vibration, the quiet click that says, 'Here.' It is not about strength. It is about intimacy." He took the pick, closed his eyes, and with imperceptible movements, focused entirely on the feedback through his fingers. Moments later, the lock yielded with a smooth sigh. Your anxious mind is that complex lock. We often try to force it open with willpower, positive thinking, frustration. We apply pressure, and it seizes tighter. Mindfulness of breath is becoming that master locksmith. The breath is your delicate tool, your point of sensitive contact. You are not forcing. You are listening for the subtle feedback of the present moment, the sensation, the sound, the quiet click of understanding that arises when you stop fighting and start feeling. The opening happens through attentive, patient intimacy. If this approach, this gentle unlocking, speaks to you, I invite you to subscribe to Monk's Temple. Here, we regularly return to these conversations with the present moment. Let's explore a core Buddhist principle, impermanence, or Anicca. This teaching can sound cold, everything ends. But for a heart gripped by anxiety, this is not a threat, it is the most hopeful truth. Your anxiety tells a story of permanence. This feeling, this dread, this is how it will always be. It paints a future as a long, colorless extension of now. Your breath is a living, rhythmic contradiction. Watch it. The in-breath begins, peaks, ends. The out-breath begins, flows, ceases. A constant demonstration of birth and death in miniature. No breath is held. Each is released for the next. The terrifying thought. Same nature. It arose. It will peak. It will pass. It is weather. Returning to the breath is your direct proof. You are not stuck. You are flowing. Each return whispers, see. That passed. This is new. I once met a geologist who studied canyons, a man who thought in epochs. Yet, he was plagued by buzzing anxiety about daily tasks. My mind is a chaotic stream, but I think in rock layers, he said. The teacher gave him a smooth river stone. This stone is your anxious thought. It feels solid, permanent, heavy. But from your science, what is it? The geologist turned it over. Granite. Formed under heat and pressure. Broken off, tumbled in a river for centuries, smoothed by endless grains of sand. So, the teacher said, its solidity is an illusion of our brief lifespan. It is a snapshot of a million-year process. Your anxious thought is the same. A temporary snapshot of a flowing mental process. You can put it down. The man sat, breathing, holding the stone, then placed it gently down. He could respect the weight without carrying it forever. Your breath is the river that smooths and carries. You are not the stone. You are the flow. This leads to non-attachment. Not aloofness. It is the skill of holding experiences without being glued to them. Imagine holding delicate, ancient parchment. Clutch it tightly in fear of the wind, and you crumple it. Let it go, it blows away. Cradle it gently on open palms, with just enough tension to support it, and you can read it, appreciate it, let the breeze move around it. Your feelings are that parchment. Anxiety makes us clutch. We grip, wrestle, try to press it flat, ruining the experience of our own life. Non-attachment is the open-palmed cradle. The breath creates space around the feeling. You feel the anxiety, but also the air moving in and out around it. You are not fused to it. You hold it with awareness, allowing it to be, and in that allowing, it can change. Consider a master carpenter fitting a joint. He does not force the wood. He planes, sands, tests the fit. A moment of suction, of perfect fit, comes from patient shaping, not hammering. He is attached to the process, not to forcing the outcome. When anxious, we try to force a joint in our lives that doesn't fit. We hammer with worry. Non-attachment is returning to the sanding block of the breath. The patient shaping of attention until we find the fit of acceptance with what is, now. Relief is in the suction of that fit. Let me tell you an original story. In a small town, an old radio tower began picking up only static, a loud, chaotic hiss. Engineers checked everything. Finally, an old technician climbed the tower. Near the top, he found it. A massive bird's nest, woven from metallic scraps, built right against the antenna. Not a broken part, but an interference. He carefully relocated the nest to a safe platform a few feet away. The static cleared instantly. Your mind, when anxious, is not broken. But it often has a nest of tangled, metallic thoughts, old stories, fears, built against your point of reception. It creates static, drowning out the present moment. Meditation is not destroying the nest. It is the careful noticing of it. Creating a tiny space between the antenna of awareness and the tangled thoughts. Sometimes, that slight relocation of attention, just a few breaths away, is all it takes for the static to fade and your clear signal to return. The breath is your climb up the tower. Let's look at what you believe you are. Anxiety declares, "I am afraid." It builds a solid story of a small, separate self under siege. Buddhism offers a liberating investigation called Anicca, not self. This isn't a denial of you. It's an invitation to look closely at the commander of this inner chaos. Where is this solid I that owns the anxiety? When you sit with the breath, thoughts arise. This is boring. Who is bored? My shoulder hurts. Who is hurt? Look with curiosity. You'll find only the breath, the sensation, the thought. The feeling of a central I is itself another thought, appearing and dissolving in awareness. This isn't loss. It's the discovery of immense space. You are not a statue battered by a storm. You are the ocean. Waves of thought and emotion rise and fall. Some are gentle ripples, some are terrifying swells. The ocean isn't damaged by its waves. Its nature is vast, deep, capable of holding it all. Anxiety is a type of wave, tall, choppy, turbulent. You don't have to identify as that single, frightened wave. You can remember you are the whole ocean, containing it, knowing its temporary nature. The breath anchors you to that oceanic depth, the rhythm beneath all surface weather. I knew a violin maker. She said, "A violin is not an object you build. It is a space you carve out for resonance. The wood is not the instrument. The empty space inside, shaped by the wood, is the instrument. My job is to carve that void with such precision that when the string vibrates, the entire space sings." Your sense of a solid, anxious self is like focusing only on the wood. The dense thoughts and fears. Mindful awareness is the carving out of inner space. Each return to the breath isn't adding more wood. You are gently hollowing out a chamber for resonance. You are creating an inner capacity to hold vibration without shattering. Anxiety is a note played on the string of your nerves. When you are only solid wood, that note is jarring. But when you've carved out a space of awareness, the same note can resonate, be held, even contribute to your life's music. You aren't eliminating the sound, you are becoming a better instrument for hearing its true, passing nature. Now, consider equanimity, or upekkha, the balanced heart. It isn't passive resignation. It's the strong, steady ground supporting both joy and sorrow without being swept away. Imagine you are a deep lake diver with a guideline to the surface. On the surface, there may be crashing waves, panic, driving rain, worry, or brilliant sunshine, relief. As a diver, you feel these as gentle pulls, but your center is in the calm depth. You know you can follow your guideline, the breath, back down anytime. You don't deny the storm. You simply don't live where it's most violent. Anxiety pulls us to that chaotic surface, convincing us we are only the foam. Equanimity is the skill of diving deep, finding the still point within movement. Your breath is that guideline. In a panic, one conscious, long-out breath is like letting air out of your buoyancy compensator, sinking an inch toward calm. You may still see the storm above, but you're no longer choking on it. Think of an air traffic controller. Her screen is a maelstrom of blinking dots, each a life, with weather and timing constraints. To be effective, she cannot fuse with any single blip, even one signaling trouble. She can't panic with the pilot. Her training cultivates panoramic awareness. Seeing the whole field from composed, focused calm. She acknowledges the problem, addresses it, but her mind stays in the spacious control tower of her awareness, not in the cockpit of the crisis. Your anxious thoughts are those blinking dots. Mindfulness trains you to be the air traffic controller of your inner world, not the panicked pilot of every thought. The breath is your console, your grounded reference. From that seat, you can acknowledge, I see that worry, and navigate it without your whole system going into alarm. Here's an original story. A master gardener lived in a city with volatile weather, scorching one week, flooding the next. Novices planted delicate flowers that would thrive then die, leading to disappointment. This gardener cultivated a resilient meadow. She planted deep-rooted native grasses, hardy perennials, and wildflowers that could withstand drought, absorb floods, and provide for pollinators in every season. Her garden was never a static picture of perfection. It was a dynamic, living system that adapted. I don't fight the weather, she said. I build soil so healthy and choose life so resilient that the weather becomes just another participant in the garden story, not its destroyer. Your mind, when you try to control every outcome, is like a garden of delicate flowers. A single hot day of fear withers it. A downpour of bad news drowns it. Meditation is the patient cultivation of an inner meadow. Each breath plants a seed of native grass, a resilient, unshowy awareness that roots deeply. You are building the soil of equanimity. You aren't aiming for a perfect, anxiety-free day. You are developing a mental ecosystem that can withstand the inevitable weather of life. Anxiety is a hot wind, but in a meadow, the hot wind helps scatter seeds for next year. This relates to right effort on the Buddha's path. This isn't about straining. It's the wise, balanced application of energy. Think of tuning a guitar string. Turn the peg with too much force, too fast, and the string snaps. Too timid, and it never reaches the correct pitch. Right effort is the sensitive, patient turning, listening for the moment the note harmonizes. Applying effort in meditation is the same. Forcing concentration until you have a headache is turning too hard. Giving up at the first distraction is not turning at all. Right effort is the gentle, persistent return. The soft intention, when I notice I'm gone, I'll come back. It is the effort of letting go of distraction, not clenching onto the breath. The breath is the perfect pitch. Your attention is the string. Your kind awareness is the hand on the peg, making minute, patient adjustments toward harmony. Another tale. A watchmaker repaired intricate antique timepieces. A man brought a family heirloom, a watch stopped decades ago, overwound by generations of desperate hands. The watchmaker opened the case. The problem, he said, is not that it's broken. It is full of force. Every spring was tense to paralysis. Every gear frozen by pressure. His work wasn't to add energy, but to carefully release the existing tension. He spent hours delicately loosening, easing, letting each part return to neutral. Only then could the mechanism breathe and, with a single gentle wind, begin to tick. Our minds, after years of anxiety, are like that overwound watch. We are full of the tension of forced solutions, the pressure of needing to be different. Meditation isn't about winding the spring tighter. It is the watchmaker's art of release. Each exhale in awareness is a gentle loosening of a tiny gear. We are not doing, we are undoing accumulated resistance. The calm that follows isn't manufactured, it is the natural state appearing when paralyzing tension is relieved. Your breath is the watchmaker's delicate tool, easing pressure, one gentle turn at a time. Return now to your simple, physical anchor. The coolness at the nostrils. The warmth on the out-breath. The tidal rhythm in chest or belly. There's nowhere else to be. Nothing to fix. Just this intimate conversation with the life moving through you, one wave, one breath, at a time. Here, you are not a problem. You are a vastness to be inhabited. The ocean, not the wave. The meadow, not the fragile flower. The resonating space, not just the solid wood. Let's explore mindfulness, or sati. This is more than present moment awareness. It is attention that sees things as they are, not as we fear them to be. Picture walking through a familiar room at night during a power outage. A coat draped over a chair becomes a lurking shape. Your heart pounds. Mindfulness is finding the light switch. A soft lamp reveals the coat for what it is. The shape didn't change. Your relationship to it transformed. Anxiety is the mind living in that dark room, reacting to draped coats as monsters. The breath is your light switch. It doesn't rearrange your life's furniture. It lets you see it clearly, reducing needless panic. The Buddha taught mindfulness to cut through delusion. Our primary delusion is that anxiety is an accurate report on reality. It is not. It is a report on a possible reality, often the worst-case one, projected onto the present. Mindfulness of breath trains you to discern the difference between the actual sensation of this moment, cool air, warm air, and the manufactured narrative, I can't handle what's coming. Each return to the raw sensation of breathing exercises this muscle of discernment. You practice faith in what is actually true over what is fearfully imagined. Here is a modern example. A skilled machinist developed a fine, internal tremor of anxiety. He felt he'd lost his essential steadiness. He fought it, which made it worse. A retired mentor said, "The machine vibrates. The building vibrates." Precision isn't the absence of vibration. It's the measurement and adjustment for it. He had the machinist feel the lathe's hum, then his own. Feel how your vibration is one more frequency in the field. Don't fight it. Compensate for it. The machinist began to meditate, using the breath not to eliminate his tremor, but to become so familiar with its rhythm he could work with it. His work became more precise. Your anxiety is that tremor. The attempt to eliminate it creates disturbance. Mindfulness is feeling its exact frequency within the wider field. The breath is your baseline hum. You learn to make life's adjustments from a place that includes the tremor, not from a war against it. This connects to dependent origination. Nothing exists in isolation. Everything arises from a web of causes and conditions. Your anxiety does not appear from a void. It arises dependent on conditions, a thought, a memory, lack of sleep, a chemical shift. Seeing this is empowering. If anxiety depends on conditions, then by gently altering conditions, we influence it. We can't always control the trigger, but we can influence the next link, our reaction. The space between trigger and reaction is where the breath lives. That one conscious breath inserts a new, healing condition into the chain. You change the recipe. Instead of trigger-panic, it becomes trigger-breath-aware response. You aren't stopping the first domino, you're placing a cushion before the second. Consider a garden hose with a spray nozzle. Turning on the water, the trigger, the default is a fierce jet, anxious reaction, that erodes soil. That setting is worn from habit. Mindfulness is noticing your hand on the nozzle. The breath is the moment you rotate the dial to shower. The water pressure, the energy, hasn't changed. But the condition of the nozzle, your mind, has. The impact is nourishing, not destructive. Through repetition, you learn to feel for that dial and turn it. Here's a story about a librarian in a vast archive. Junior librarians would panic when they couldn't find a document. They'd frantically pull boxes, creating mess. The head librarian had a rule. When you feel lost, stop moving. Put your hands on the nearest shelf. Feel the wood. Breathe twice. Then, ask the system. The system knows where it lives. You just have to listen. The archive's index was built on relationships, not isolated numbers. By pausing, they could see the connection. Your mind is that archive. An anxious thought arises, and you frantically pull at mental boxes. The practice of pausing with the breath is putting your hands on the shelf. It grounds you. From that calm, you can see the relational origin of the worry. This dread isn't about tomorrow's meeting. It's related to that old criticism. They are connected on a shelf. The breath doesn't find the file. It stops the frantic search so you can see the system. Consider story, or ethical living. This is deeply connected to anxiety. A troubled conscience, a dis-ease with our actions, fuels anxiety. When actions misalign with values, it creates a hum of unease that anxiety amplifies. Living with integrity, speaking kindly, acting honestly, is like cleaning a car's engine. It removes a source of preventable friction. The peace from a clear heart is a buffer against storms. Every choice of patience over irritation, generosity over selfishness, deprives anxiety of fuel. This is about intention, not perfection. The breath is a touch point. Before reacting, one conscious breath creates space to choose the more skillful action. You breathe in the possibility of integrity, and breathe out the impulse of regret. Imagine a weaver at a loom. Ethical precepts are the strong, vertical warp threads, the foundation. Daily actions are the horizontal weft. If the warp is weak, the tapestry frays. If strong, she can weave any pattern, including dark threads of difficulty, into a resilient whole. Anxiety feels like the weft tangling. But the real issue is often the warp, our foundational sense of right action. Strengthening it through mindful intention provides stability. Your breath helps you check the tension on your warped threads, ensuring they are firm. Another story. A technician maintained listening devices in a forest to track birds. The system had false positives, anxiety. It triggered alerts for rustling leaves or distant traffic. He couldn't eliminate these sounds. So, he programmed the system to learn. He input context, time of day, weather, seasons. The system learned a rustle during a dry, windy afternoon was likely leaves. A crack at dawn in mating season had a different profile. It began to filter by understanding context. Your mindful awareness is that learning system. An anxious thought is a ping. Instead of reacting to every ping as a threat, you can bring in context. This tight chest pinged at 2 a.m. My context is I'm tired. This is likely a leaf rustle, not a predator. The breath is your baseline data. It grounds you in present context, helping filter signal from noise. Return to the breath. The simple fact of it. In this moment, you are not required to solve or eliminate anything. You are invited to illuminate the room. To feel the tremor and adjust. To turn the nozzle. To place your hands on the shelf. To check the warp. To learn the context. This happens not through frantic doing, but through gentle being with that the breath makes possible. You are all these roles. And you are also the quiet space that holds them all. Let's consider the nature of resistance. Anxiety is often a fierce resistance to fear itself. We treat the feeling as an invader to expel. The Buddha's middle way offers a different path, neither suppression nor indulgence. It is allowing a feeling to be known, fully, without letting it dictate your actions. Imagine swimming in a river with a strong current. Fighting it exhausts you. Giving up surrenders all agency. The middle way is turning to float on your back. You are still in the current. You feel its power. But you are no longer fighting nor drowned by it. You allow it to carry you while maintaining gentle buoyancy. Your anxiety is that current. The breath is the position of floating. It changes your relationship from combat to acute, peaceful awareness. This touches a profound insight: what we resist persists. Labeling anxiety as bad and pushing it away gives it a charge. The mind thinks, I am fighting this, so it must be a real threat. This amplifies the signal. Mindfulness offers a paradox: turning toward discomfort with curiosity disarms it. We remove the energy of resistance. This doesn't erase the feeling, but changes its texture from a sharp alarm to a passing sensation. A teacher called it shaking hands with the devil. You don't invite him to dinner, but acknowledge his presence. That non-combative acknowledgement often makes him lose interest. Here's an original story. A blacksmith struggled with a stubborn piece of iron. Striking it while cold caused dents or cracks. He struck harder, with more frustration. An old smith watched. You are meeting its resistance with your own. You are both cold. He pointed to the forge. Bring it to the same heat as your intention. When it glows, resistance softens. Then your strike is not a battle, but collaboration. The metal wants to be shaped, you help it remember how. Our anxious resistance is cold, brittle iron. Forced positivity or suppression is the cold hammer, creating cracks. Mindfulness of breath is the forge. It is gentle, consistent application of warm, non-judgmental awareness. It brings hardened resistance to a glow, making it malleable. Then, our conscious intentions can shape experience with less force and greater harmony. Now, the concept of story sanghistori, or community. Your practice is personal, but you do not walk alone. The feeling of isolation, of being the only one with this inner storm, amplifies anxiety. Knowing others sit with their own versions is a balm. In this digital space, you are part of a silent story sanghistory, a community pausing to breathe, to remember their nature. This shared intention is a powerful field. You are not just breathing for yourself, you are breathing for all who have forgotten. This expands your practice from a personal fix to a gentle, revolutionary act of reconnection. Think of an aspen forest. Above ground, trees appear as separate trunks. Underground, they connect by a single, vast root system. When one tree is stressed, it draws support from others through this network. A drought may scorch leaves, but the root system shares water to keep the grove alive. When you practice, you tap into a human rhizome. You connect to the root system of shared consciousness, to countless others choosing awareness over reaction. You draw strength because you are designed for interconnection. Your anxiety screams of separation. Your breath, a rhythm shared by all living beings, is proof of connection. Another tale. In a skyscraper, a central column housed all vital systems: water, electrical, communication. Tenants had issues: flickering lights, low water pressure. They tackled problems in isolation, buying bigger pumps or louder speakers, often making things worse. A new superintendent arrived. She invited a simple practice. At noon, a soft bell rang over the intercom. For 1 minute, everyone stopped to breathe. No fixes. Just a shared pause. Slowly, people noticed local problems tied to rhythms in the central column: peak water usage, electrical draws. The shared pause created collective awareness. They coordinated, spreading out demands. The building found equilibrium. Your body and mind are that skyscraper. Anxious symptoms are flickering lights. Frantic, isolated fixes strain the system. The practice of mindful breath connects you to your central column. It allows different parts of your being to communicate, to find balance without forced intervention. We must also speak of store gratitudestory, not as listing blessings. This is deeper, recognition of the sheer improbability and preciousness of this human birth, this moment of awareness. Anxiety fixates on what is missing, what could go wrong. Gratitude is not denial of pain, it is widening the lens to include what is also present: the breath, hearing, support beneath you. You cannot feel terror and deep gratitude in the same neural instant. They use different channels. Consciously shifting to sensory gratitude, I am grateful for air in my lungs, is a skillful redirect. It is choosing which reality to inhabit within your present experience. A musician described tuning an orchestra. Before playing, cacophony reigns as each musician tunes to the oboes A. Listen closely. That moment is not just noise. It is collective aspiration toward harmony. Each note is a seeking for alignment. Your mind, with its chorus of anxious thoughts, is like that tuning moment. It feels chaotic. But what if each thought is an instrument seeking its correct pitch? Your breath is the oboe's A. It is the reference tone. You don't silence the orchestra. You sound the reference tone again, allowing parts of your being to tune toward it, toward harmony of present moment awareness. The cacophony subsides into readiness to play your day's symphony with coherence. Finally, storyletting gostory, or storavasagastory. This is the culmination. We let go of the breath at each exhalation. We let go of the past thought. We let go of the attempt to control. This is not loss, but return to flow. Picture a child on a swing. Joy is not clinging rigidly at the highest point. Joy is momentary release into the arc of the fall, trust in the swing's path. Anxiety is clinging at the peak, muscles taut, fearing the fall. Letting go is the exhale, allowing the effortless swoop back. The breath teaches this rhythm: grasp, inhale, release, exhale. Your life is that swing. The practice is to soften your grip on control, to trust the natural arc following release. In this moment, feel the current, but choose to float. Feel the cold resistance, but bring warm awareness. Feel separateness, but remember the root system. Hear the cacophony, but sound your inner tone. On the next out-breath, practice gentle letting go. Not of responsibilities, but of the stranglehold on this moment. Allow it to be as it is, with you floating, glowing, connected, tuned, and trustingly released within it. Let's examine a common trap: the pursuit of perfect calm. We often meditate with a subtle goal: to become peaceful, to achieve a blank mind. This striving is a form of grasping. According to the Buddha's second noble truth, grasping causes suffering. So we create a paradox: we grasp at non-grasping. We try to force surrender. This conflict generates its own anxiety. The path out is Storybeginner's mind story. Sit not to achieve a special state, but to witness what is already here. The breath isn't a tool to get somewhere better. It is an anchor to where you already are. Peace isn't a destination after silencing thoughts. It's the quality of space that holds thoughts when you stop battling them. Think of learning to ice skate. At first, you are rigid. You clench, fighting to stay upright, terrified of falling. This stiffness guarantees a fall. The instructor says, bend your knees. Loosen your ankles. If you start to go, flow with it. The skill is in the supple response, not rigid control. Your mind on anxiety is like a rigid skater. You are clenched against the fall of difficult feelings. Meditation teaches you to bend the knees of your attention, to loosen the ankles of resistance. The breath is that supple bend. It doesn't prevent the wobble, it allows you to move with it, recovering balance through fluid adjustment. An original story. A master painter created stunning night sky murals. An apprentice grew frustrated. His stars looked like flat dots. You paint stars as objects, she said. You try to control each point. But a night sky isn't a collection of dots. It is a relationship between darkness and light, a vast depth that holds the twinkle. She had him lie on his back for hours, just gazing. Don't paint the star. Paint the space around it. Paint the gradient of the dark. The star will appear because of what surrounds it. Your peaceful mind is not blank moments. It is the vast sky of awareness. Anxious thoughts are not mistakes, they are stars. Your labor isn't to erase them, but to cultivate the deep, spacious darkness, allowing them to simply be. In that context, they lose harshness, becoming part of a beautiful whole. The breath is your brush for painting the space. This relates to Storybeginner, or emptiness. Not nothingness. It means nothing has independent, permanent existence. Everything is empty of a separate self. Your anxiety, investigated, is empty. It is a temporary confluence of sensations, images, stories. It has no solid core. When you feel it, inquire, where exactly is it? What is its texture? You'll find it shifts, changes. This investigation robs it of solidity. It becomes a process to observe, not a prison. The breath is your stable point for this gentle investigation. A modern analogy, noise-canceling headphones. They don't create a wall of silence. A tiny microphone listens for consistent noise, an engine hum, air conditioner drone. Then, they generate a sound wave that is the exact opposite. When waves meet, they cancel out, creating quiet. Your anxious rumination is that drone. Your conscious breath is the active generation of the inverse wave, a wave of acceptance, allowance, present focus. It doesn't battle noise head-on, it meets it with its precise opposite. The quiet is dynamic equilibrium, leaving rich, subtle sounds once drowned out. Another story, from sailing. A novice panicked when wind picked up. He'd gripped the tiller, pointing the boat directly into the wind to stop motion, a position called in irons. The boat would stall, lose steerage, get tossed. An old sailor called, "You're fighting the wind. Let it fill your sail. Point off, find a new course. Use the energy." He showed him to adjust the sail, let the boat heel, correct gently. The boat moved with powerful grace. Anxiety is that strong wind. Our instinct is to point into it, to stop it, leaving us stalled. The breath is adjusting the sail. It is turning slightly, finding a course you can sail. Store with story the energy of fear, using it for momentum. You are not abandoning direction, you are navigating with conditions as they are. We must address the body. Anxiety lives there. The Buddha taught mindfulness of the body. We get lost in thought stories, but the body speaks simpler language. A tight jaw, shallow breath, knotted stomach, these are translations of worried narratives. You can talk to the mind forever. Sometimes, talk to the body. Bring breath to that knot. Imagine the out-breath flowing into the tight space, not to forcibly relax it, but to keep it company. Offer warmth of attention. This is direct compassion. The body has held tension for you. Thank it. Breathe into it as listening. Often, the body releases first, and the mind follows. Picture a skilled physical therapist. She doesn't command a locked muscle to relax. She applies gentle, sustained pressure to the tension point and asks the patient to breathe into it. She works story with story, the body's protective reflex. She understands tension guards against perceived threat. Your mindful attention is that hand. Your breath instructs the muscle of your psyche, breathe into this guard. It's safe to soften. Release is a biological act of trust. A story about a bridge engineer. An old suspension bridge vibrated alarmingly in high winds. Locals wanted it braced. He prescribed the opposite. He installed tuned mass dampers, large pendulums inside towers that swing at a specific frequency to counteract the wind's frequency. He didn't fight the wind's energy, he absorbed and dissipated it with a rhythmic countermovement. The bridge stopped vibrating. Your nervous system is that bridge. Anxiety is the wind. Trying to brace rigidly creates strain. The rhythmic practice of mindful breathing is your tuned mass damper. It doesn't stop the wind, but absorbs chaotic energy, transforming it into a harmless swing within your awareness. You become stable through flexible resonance. So, release the goal. Bend the knees of effort. Paint the space around thoughts. Investigate emptiness. Generate the counterwave of allowance. Adjust your sail. Breathe into the body's holding. Become the bridge with wise dampers. In all this, the breath is your constant, not a weapon, but a witness, not a force, but a frequency. Not a demand, but a dialogue with life flowing through you. Let's explore the idea of time. Anxiety is time travel. It pulls you into an imagined catastrophic future or a regretted past. The present moment, where life happens, gets squeezed out. The Buddha's mindfulness is a call to return to Storonostory. But how? The breath is your time machine home. It only happens now. Air entering your nostrils is a Storonostory event. The pause before exhale is Storonostory. Placing attention here trains your mind to inhabit its true address. You aren't denying future tasks, you're realizing the only way to prepare for any future is to be fully competent in the present. Consider an archer. His target is downrange, a future point. Obsessing over it makes his arm shake, aim falter. The master teaches the target is almost irrelevant. The art is in present moment form, feel of the bow, anchor point, smooth release. The future is a result of Storonostory quality. Your anxious goal is a future target, I need to be calm. Obsessing makes you shake. The practice is returning to form, feel of breath, anchor of sensation, smooth exhale. Future well-being results from present attention quality. An original story. A master chess player developed severe tournament anxiety. He'd think 10 moves ahead, see devastation, and freeze. His coach made a radical rule. For 5 games, think only 1 move ahead. Choose the most harmonious move for Storonostory board, now. Not the winning move. The move most balanced for Storonostory configuration. Reluctantly, he did. He lost first 2 games. By the 3rd, something shifted. Freed from the burden of predicted future, his perception of the present board became sharp, creative, calm. He saw new possibilities. He began winning by serving the present, not controlling the future. Your mind is that chessboard. Anxiety tries to think 10 painful moves ahead. Breath awareness is the coach's rule, come back to 1 move. What is the most harmonious response to Storonostory present moment board, this breath, this sound? The future arranges itself from present choice quality. This connects to story-right intention story in the Eightfold Path. Intention shapes everything. If your subconscious intention is to escape anxiety, you are at war. If your intention is to understand it, be with it, learn its nature, the energy shifts. Setting a gentle intention is like setting time machine coordinates. For these minutes, my intention is to be present with kindness. That intention, held lightly, guides the journey. Think of a gardener planting a tree. Her intention isn't immediate fruit. It's to provide conditions, good soil, water, sunlight. She tends present conditions, trusting the tree's nature. Digging up the seed daily to check roots harms it. Your intention to be present is planting that seed. Breath is water and sunlight. You provide conditions through gentle tending. Peace grows according to its nature, in its own time. You cannot force it, you can faithfully tend store nostri. We need compassion for the anxious self, story carrying a story. Not pity. The heart's natural response to suffering. When anxiety strikes, we often meet ourselves with criticism. Not again. Why can't I be stronger? This pours salt on a wound. Compassion is clean, cool water. Start with a simple internal gesture. Feel fear's grip, place a hand gently on your heart. Feel your touch's warmth. Breathe into that contact. Say inwardly, this is a moment of suffering. It's okay. May I be kind. This isn't weak. It's strategic biology. Touch and kind words trigger oxytocin, countering stress hormones. You use your own care as medicine. A palliative care nurse taught me something. Deepest comfort wasn't always words. When a patient was distressed, she'd match her breathing to theirs. She'd sit, breathe with them, slowly deepen her breaths. Without a word, the patient's system would synchronize, follow, calm. Compassion is joining, not fixing. You can do this. When anxiety has rapid rhythm, consciously slow your exhale. Join your distress with care's rhythm. Be your own compassionate companion. Another tale. A potter creating a delicate vase slipped, making a deep gouge. His initial reaction was frustration, a desire to smash it. Instead, he put tools down. He walked, breathed, returned. He saw the flaw not as ruin, but a new feature. He refined the gouge into a channel, trailed gold glaze into it, story consugistory, where breaks are repaired with gold. The vase became more beautiful, valued, because of its repaired flaw. Anxious episodes, perceived cracks, are like that gouge. Instinct rejects the experience. Self-compassion is the pause, breath, return. It integrates the experience, seeing the crack and choosing to fill it with gold of kind attention. The repaired you is more complex, beautiful, resilient. Finally, consider store faith story, or story siddhastory. Not blind belief, but trust in the process. Trust that returning to breath is meaningful even with no immediate benefit. Trust the mind has self-healing capacities activated when you stop interfering. See breath practice as dropping a bucket into a deep, hidden well. First few times, it may come up empty or muddy. You keep dropping because you trust water is there. One day, it comes up clear. The well was always there, you had to reach consistently. Your calm mind is that well. Anxiety is surface debris. Each mindful breath lowers the bucket past debris into still water beneath. Imagine a farmer in drought. He cannot make rain. But he has faith in seasons. He maintains tools, clears irrigation channels, prepares soil. When rain comes, his fields are ready. Your practice is preparation. You clear channels of attention, prepare heart's soil with kindness, maintain awareness tool. You may not command peace, but have faith that creating conditions makes you ready to receive it. Breath is both tool and proof, the reliable nourishing rain always falling within you. Step out of time travel. Be the archer focused on form. Be the chess player serving the present move. Set the gentle intention of a gardener. Offer yourself compassion of a healing touch. See cracks as places for gold. Have faith of the well-digger, the farmer. Let breath guide you back to the only moment you ever have, the only moment you ever need, this one. Let's discuss anxiety's energy. It feels like buzzing, frantic, trapped energy. The instinct is to discharge it, through talk, movement, distraction. But what if this energy isn't an enemy? In the Buddhist view, energy is just energy. How we relate to it creates suffering. This frantic energy is store of iriastery, effort, vigor, life force. It's become tangled, like a kinked hose. Pressure builds, the hose thrashes, but no water flows where needed. Your practice isn't to turn off the tap, but to find the kink and gently release it, allowing energy to flow with purpose, not spasm and panic. Think of a power grid. During a surge, breakers trip to prevent damage. Power isn't gone. It's temporarily redirected. Anxiety is like a tripped breaker. A feeling surge overwhelms usual pathways. The resulting shutdown or panic is a protective mechanism. Mindfulness is the engineer who doesn't just reset the breaker, but walks the lines. He finds where a tree branch, a clinging thought, is on the line, where insulation is worn, old patterns, and methodically clears and repairs. The breath is your diagnostic tool, your steady voltmeter. Each calm observation walks your inner lines, finds where energy short-circuits, and gently restores flow. An original story. A master glassblower maintained a furnace at precise, high temperature, contained, intense energy. Novices feared that heat, working timidly, producing thick, clumsy glass. The master said, "You treat fire as a monster. It is not. It is your most cooperative partner. Move with the same confidence as the flame, centered, directed, unwavering." He showed how to gather molten glass, turn the pipe steadily, shape with sure, calm movements channeling heat's potential into beautiful form. The anxiety you feel is your own inner heat. You fear it, so you jerk away, creating wobbles. Invite it to the center. Let it be the source of your transformation, not destruction. Your anxious energy is that molten heat. It can feel terrifyingly out of control. The breath's steady rhythm is turning the pipe. It doesn't lower temperature. It gives a stable axis around which heat can be shaped, transformed from a dangerous spill into a work of art. You learn to work with your intensity, not against it. This relates to the story middle way story with energy. Balance between suppression and indulgence. We bottle feeling up, causing pressure, or let it explode. The middle path is conscious channeling. The breath is the channel. When you feel a surge, instead of tightening or letting it rant, bring it to the breath. Feel frantic energy story body sensation, and breathe into that place. You give energy a conscious pathway. If you must move, move here, with this rhythm. This transforms it from threat to dynamic participant. Consider a composer scoring a suspenseful film scene. He doesn't avoid discordant, high-tension music. He uses it within a larger structure of rhythm, melody, resolution. Dissonance serves the story, it doesn't dominate. Your anxious thoughts are discordant notes. Your practice is you, the composer. The breath is your steady bass line. You don't delete scary violins of worry. You allow them, but keep them in relation to the breath's deeper rhythm. This prevents anxiety from becoming the entire soundtrack. It becomes one element in a richer composition. Introduce story the hindrancestory in meditation. The Buddha named 5 obstacles: sensory desire, ill will, sloth, restlessness, doubt. Anxiety is a cousin to restlessness and doubt. The instruction isn't to fight, but to recognize. Ah, this is restlessness. Naming changes your relationship. It's no longer you being restless, it is restlessness manifesting. Then apply an antidote. For restlessness, the antidote is grounding, attention to body, breath sensations. For doubt, the antidote is faith in the process, remembering why you practice. The breath is the vehicle for both, the ultimate ground, and a constant proof you can return. A modern story. A software engineer troubleshoots a complex bug. Code through frantic, nonsensical error messages, anxious outputs. Quick fixes created more errors. He stepped back. He added debugging lines, simple commands printing the system's state at each step, not to change it, just to report. These lines created a calm, factual narrative of what was actually happening. The real bug source became obvious. Mindfulness is adding debugging lines to your consciousness. Breath in. Feeling tightness. Thought about failure arising. You aren't fixing yet, you are creating a calm, factual readout. This objective data cuts through frantic error messages and reveals the underlying pattern. The breath is your most reliable debugging line. We must speak of sleep when anxiety invades the night. In the dark, thoughts loom large. The breath becomes your night light. You aren't trying to sleep, a goal-creating striving. You are simply resting with the breath. You give the restless mind a gentle, repetitive, boring focus. Imagine a parent soothing a frantic child not with reasoning, but with a slow, steady rock and a hummed lullaby. The breath is that rock and lullaby for your inner child. You aren't arguing with fears, you offer rhythmic, somatic comfort speaking to a deeper part of the nervous system. Picture a captain navigating a ship through fog at night. He cannot see shore. Panic is useless. He switches to instrument flying. He trusts his compass, depth sounder, radar. These tools give reality beyond limited, fearful senses. The fog is your anxious confusion. The breath is your compass, true north pointing to present. Body sensation is your depth sounder, telling you where you are. Gentle noting of thoughts is your radar, detecting objects without collision. You may not see the future, but you navigate this moment with trust in instruments. A story about a master tailor. A client brought a priceless, torn tapestry, frayed at edges. The client wanted it glued to a backing, frozen. The tailor refused. If I stiffen it, it will only crack elsewhere. Weakness is in the thread's connection to the hole. She worked for weeks with a single needle and thread, not patching over, but patiently reweaving each broken thread back into surrounding intact fabric. She restored strength by reconnecting, not reinforcing. Your sense of self during anxiety feels frayed, torn from the whole. Quick fixes try to glue you to normal. True healing is patient, breath-by-breath reweaving of awareness. Each return to the breath is a stitch reconnecting scattered attention to the intact fabric of the present. You aren't covering the tear, you restore original, resilient connection. Meet the energy. Walk the lines. Partner with inner heat. Compose with dissonance. Name the hindrance. Add debugging lines. Offer the lullaby. Trust your instruments. Reweave with patient stitches. In every case, the breath is not a retreat from life's intensity, but the means to meet it, hold it, transform your relationship from fear to conscious, creative engagement. And so we arrive here, together, in this quiet space we've carved out with our attention. We've journeyed through landscapes of thought and feeling, not to conquer them, but to become familiar with their terrain. We've met anxiety not as a final verdict on your being, but as a kind of weather in the vast sky of your awareness. We've practiced returning, again and again, to the gentle, undeniable truth of the breath, a truth that requires no belief, only noticing. This is the heart of the Buddha's practical wisdom. Freedom is not found in a distant heaven or a future state of perfection. It is found in your relationship with this very moment. When you cease fighting the reality of your experience. The tightness, the worry, the buzz, you find something else has been here all along, a steady, compassionate presence that can hold it all. You are not just the one who is anxious. You are also the one who knows you are anxious. And that knowing is where your freedom lives. The breath has been our guide, our anchor, our homing signal. But I invite you now to see it as something more, as a friend. A friend who never lectures, never judges, never abandons you. A friend whose only language is the rhythm of life itself. In your moments of stillness and in your moments of storm, you can always reach for this friend. One conscious breath is a full conversation. It says, I am here. I am alive. And in this instant, that is enough. Do not measure the success of this practice by the absence of anxiety. Measure it by the presence of your gentle return. Each time you remember to breathe, you are planting a seed of mindfulness in the fertile soil of your life. Some days it may feel like you are planting in stone. But beneath the surface, roots are spreading. Your willingness to show up, to sit with what is the water and the sun. Take this from our time together. You are fundamentally whole. You are not a project to be fixed, but a presence to be realized. The waves of worry do not define the depth of your ocean. The passing clouds of fear do not alter the boundless nature of your sky. Your practice is simply to remember this, breath by breath. As we close, let the breath be just the breath. No technique, no goal. Simply the body breathing, the heart beating, life continuing its intelligent, mysterious course. You are part of that course. You are not separate from this flowing, breathing world. In this realization, there is a profound belonging, a peace that does not depend on calm circumstances, but on your intimate union with the pulse of the present. Thank you for visiting Monk's Temple. May you carry this sense of gentle awareness from the cushion into every corner of your life. May you meet your own heart with kindness. May you find refuge in your own breath. And may you move through the world knowing you are never alone, for you always carry within you the quiet sanctuary of your own attentive, loving presence. Be well. Be peaceful. Be free.